the more I spoke to designers at that point who were operating in this space, the single emotion, the single reason that they all gave me was just simply that there isn't enough market or value for their products in India. And they said, nobody is ready to pay a premium for a sustainability tag the way people are willing to do that abroad. We don't respect handcrafted products the way they should be respected. Have you heard of jargons such as greenwashing, green hushing, or recently bags made out of tomato or apple leather and are as confused as I am? Well, today we have a sustainability expert in the house to guide us through this all. She's an entrepreneur, author, and a sustainability advocate. She's also the founder of a platform called Sahara, which is a marketplace for certified sustainable and contemporary handcrafted apparel, accessories, and clean beauty. Plus, she hosts the Conscious Effort series, where leaders in the fashion industry, like Anita Dongre, come together to discuss and to innovate. I would like to welcome Saachi Bahl. Hi, Saachi.
Hi, Priyanka.
Welcome
Thank
to the
you.
Fashion Scoop.
Thank you for having me here today.
What are you wearing? Tell us the label.
What am I wearing?
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing everything available on Sahara.
Okay.
This outfit is by Lay Studios, which is a really amazing small batch sustainable brand. I'm wearing my earrings by this new brand we discovered. If you can, see them up close. These are parrots.
Yeah,
so,
lovely.
This is by another very small brand called Roomry that does handcrafted, hand-beaten earrings and accessories and jewelry from Pune.
Wow, lovely. So, can you tell us a little bit more about Sahara and what you're doing?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Sahara is a platform for sustainable fashion and lifestyle. And I use the word platform because we operate across three key verticals. One is retail. So many of you know Zara.com. We're a marketplace for certified contemporary sustainable fashion and lifestyle products. We were one of the first ones to start this about 7-8 years ago. My second vertical is advocacy, which is the Conscious Effort Design Show and Conclave. We're very proud because we're one of the largest and the earliest players in this space with a place where we brought together all stakeholders of fashion to actually address pressing issues around sustainability and particularly in the fashion and lifestyle industry. And my third vertical was literally born out of conscious effort because, a lot of people realize that there is so much textile innovation happening. There are so many technologies that are coming. There are so many startups that are doing such amazing, interesting work, like you mentioned, tomato leather and apple leather and stuff like that.
So just interrupting you.
Yes.
What is what is exactly a tomato leather and apple leather bag, and how do you actually make that?
Okay. So these are textile innovations that are trying to use natural fibers and integrate that to find in the material process, in the material making process, to find better alternatives or plant-based alternatives. But it's important that you asked me this question because this doesn't always mean that it's free of plastic.
Oh.
Yes. So a lot of people interchange vegan for being sustainable or, would believe that the longevity of this product would be far more better for the environment versus, a regular leather. So what's cruelty-free is not necessarily environmentally sustainable or plastic-free in this case. So that's
really
the main
informative. I didn't know that.
difference.
Yeah.
That's the main difference. And, one of the examples I always give when I'm doing a consultancy project. And I quote this example of this tire company. I forget the name. It was this tire company in Europe that developed the world's first automotive tire, which was from recycled materials. And the rubber in it, content of it in it was far less. But when they reached the testing phase of this newly developed material, which is an exceptional breakthrough product, they realized that a tire should be efficient in different conditions. So whether we're talking about snow, rain, dry, a good tire should be working efficiently across different surfaces.
Absolutely.
They realized that in normal conditions with sunlight, dry conditions, the tire worked optimally. But in wet conditions, where it was snowing or it was raining, the abrasions meant on the tires meant that the waste created, the longevity of that tire reduced substantially. So the waste that was created and that went into the oceans and water bodies nearby was far more detrimental than regular rubber tires. So, these concepts have to really be looked at quantitatively also, apart from the qualitative measures.
Understood. Great. So like you broke a myth right now about like the vegan does not mean that necessarily mean that it's plastic free. So, is there anything like any particular definition of what exactly is sustainability to you and what does it mean? Because, everybody has so many different versions. And like just to put it out there and make it clear before we start, what does it exactly mean?
I think sustainability is the simplest way for me to define sustainability is something that is environmentally bearable and socially equitable.
Okay.
In my very personal view, I think it's just simple respect for the way we live, for the respect for the way we want our future generations to inherit the environment and planet Earth, respect for nature. And this is really the fundamental crux of the quality of life that we are going to live here. So, whether that means that you're reducing the plastic that you're using on a day to day basis, simple stuff of whether you turn your lights off in your office, you take accountability of the carbon footprint that you're generating with your business, in your homes. Are you composting your waste? The simplest and the smallest things when they come together, when people come together collectively to make that difference, I think to me that is sustainability, where you make that one change and you drive impact and lead the way with respect for everything around you and specifically nature.
Lovely. So, actually, I was taking an interview a while back, and it was of one of the brands. I won't take the name. So, they said to me that I asked them a question. I asked them, what makes you sustainable or whatever. And then they were like, no, we are circular, not sustainable. So, what's the difference between. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, my bad. Like, I didn't understand at the time, but like, what is exactly the difference between circular and sustainable?
That's such a good question because,
Yeah.
often circular, sustainable, plant based, these are all
Yeah.
words that are just used interchangeably.
Exactly.
Okay, let's simplify this for you.
Yeah.
Sustainability is the goal. Circularity is a means to the goal.
Okay.
Okay, so that means that when you say you're a circular brand or your approach is circular, that means that from a take, make, waste, from a very linear approach of a take, make, waste, you're moving to a circular one of reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Okay.
And sustainability is the end byproduct of that approach. And that approach can be adopted by individuals, by homes, by societies, by businesses. And that's what they really mean when they say that, we're circular. But the end result, the goal to achieve is sustainability from that.
Thank you for clarifying. Next time, I'll be careful with this. Okay, so, I was wondering that you were a history student. I think you've completed your education in London. So then how did you make that switch from history to like being like a sustainability advocate? Like what happened over there?
Priyanka, I always say I didn't choose my work. My work chose me.
Okay.
I studied history, and like many people, late in their late teens and their very early 20s, I was really looking for a calling at that time, and that was also the year. It was hard to get a post-study work visa in the UK, so I studied history at SOAS in London, and I didn't have a job after that. The job market was quite bad. My grandparents were old. I wanted to move back to India to spend time with my family. And it was just by, I thought I'd come to India, look for a job, and maybe move back to do my master's or something like that. And believe it or not, even after I started Sahara, I did apply for a master's many years ago and got rejected twice, even though I graduated with a 2-1 in my
Maybe you were not meant to do the masters.
yeah, in university, in my degree. So I moved back, and I enjoyed marketing and communications. I took up a job for some time. And through the course of that, I had an idea of writing a book. And
Actually, I
I
was coming to that, but glad that you've
Yes.
mentioned.
And I started authoring a book called My Classic Closet, and which was an amalgamation of interviews, and that's something we can discuss after. And Anita Dongre was one of the people I interviewed in that book, and I'd been to Rabale, to the headquarters, the Anita Dongre headquarters there, and I was absolutely uh, lack of better word, flabbergasted, and so inspired and motivated by her passion for sustainability. So that came to me. That was my first sort of early introduction into the concept, but it hadn't come to me as yet. I finished writing my book. At some point, I sold it to Juggernaut. And in the interim, I actually started designing because I had an interest in fashion. And when you're designing, you think that your collection would be sold. It's just so simple that you design a collection, you go, you sell it out, and you get orders. But the reality is very different and grim for most designers. And that's where I saw an opportunity. I had an entire collection, got orders in a few pieces, but there was excess. There was enough wastage in the production process. And, it just struck me then, Priyanka. I said, where does this go? Where does this waste go? And what do you do with it?
Yeah.
And at that point, I started just in my quest to solve that problem of the vast amount of waste that, in one collection that we were projected to create. I started researching a lot on sustainability, what other brands do with their excess and their waste. And slowly I realized there are so many wonderful Indian brands that are, producing slowly, producing mindfully. And I just wondered why there isn't enough being spoken about this, and why isn't there a place where they can exclusively sell. And the more I spoke to designers at that point who were operating in this space, the single emotion, the single reason that they all gave me was just simply that there isn't enough market or value for their products in India. And they said, nobody is ready to pay a premium for a sustainability tag the way people are willing to do that abroad. We don't respect handcrafted products the way they should be respected. And, that struck me at that point. I said, India is home to so many diverse crafts. We have garment exporters, small scale design houses that are supplying the West and taking the India story everywhere else around the world. And why aren't we celebrating the India story? And my quest at that point, what I realized at that point was, we need to celebrate sustainability. We need to empower people with first understanding the concept and investing in these brands so that they have business and there is more demand for them. Um, and in effect, we also have to celebrate the India story, which we have to have more respect for. Our craftspeople are some of the most talented people you will ever come across.
Yeah.
And if we are taking that story to the West, we must be able to respect it, value it, and celebrate it at home in our country as well.
Absolutely.
So that's how we started with a small store. I started with a small store and went online then with literally a handful of designers. I've seen it's been almost a decade now being in the business, and I've seen the shift and the rise of so many wonderful brands, so many companies, actually making a shift along the way as well.
I think, yeah, there is a shift. Like even there's this platform called Shuffling Suitcases. So I think they do like a similar thing. They have like so many brands on board which are mindful.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, the shift definitely exists. But, when you spoke that people are not ready to pay a premium, like, for these
Yeah.
products. So, like, how does the whole affordability angle come in? Like, let's say there are some people who want to opt for like sustainable choices, but then it's like too expensive for them, so they think it's better to go for like something which is fast fashion. So how do we bridge that gap?
Priyanka, the real truth is that, any kind of change, the power is in the consumer. It is
Yeah.
not the brands that are going to make the real difference. They are only catering to what consumers are asking for and demanding. Any real change for a sustainable future for in this space is going to be with the consumers. Regarding your question regarding price and paying a premium for it, I think consumers are becoming smarter. Gen Z is shopping far differently from the other generations. How they have shopped and purchasing patterns are very different. And I think consumers need to make the decision between, quantity and quality.
Yeah.
There's this vast, culture of fast fashion of needing excess. I don't even personally think it's about, going to a sustainable shop and saying, I only want this product because it is vegan leather, handcrafted, or has this tag. I think if you buy something that you truly invest in that quality, it's long lasting for you, you buy less, you consume less, I think you're automatically a conscious consumer in my mind. So price is something, then they will automatically have to make that trade-off. How can you compare a product that's a fast fashion product versus a product that an artisan has probably taken weeks to first weave the fabric, then probably hand paint or hand embellish it over days. It's their craft, it's their skill you're investing in. And as I said right in the beginning, sustainability is about respect. And we have to show that respect to then our textile weavers, our craftspeople, or the technology that gives us, a recycled textile or a recycled fiber. So customers, consumers will have to make that very, again, conscious effort to choose better, choose wisely, and make that choice and stick with it.
Okay, so I wanted to also ask you, just for me and for enlightening the others who are listening, what are the brands or what are the people, like who are the people or the designers that are actually making sustainability cool? Like if you could name a few names.
There are lots.
I know there are many who have come up.
There's PU Organics that won the Conscious Effort Clean Tech Challenge in 2022. The year GoDaddy, the US tech giant based in India, GoDaddy India sponsored the Clean Tech Challenge. He won it that year, and I think he won the Reliance Design Challenge after that as well. I think he's doing exceptional work. We are stocking the brand as well. Um, I'm extremely fond of Akaro as well.
Yeah.
They are into textile innovation and very amazing
Amazing pieces.
weaving
Yeah.
techniques and pieces. And Gaurav is somebody I have immense respect for as a designer and friend. He's doing immensely amazing work. Um, there's also a brand called Malai. I don't know if
Okay.
you're aware of them.
No, I'm not.
They are making a leather alternative, a vegan leather alternative from from coconut waste,
Oh, wow.
and they're Bangalore based. So
Okay.
they're a material tech company, also doing very interesting stuff. Yeah,
Lovely. I think Bangalore has like a lot of these
yeah,
innovative startups and
yeah.
platforms.
It's a
Yeah.
tech hub, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Correct. Lovely. So, just coming back to your book
yeah.
that you mentioned, now I'm asking you. So, what is the book exactly about? Like you just said, ki it's like a compilation of interviews
Yes,
of sorts. But
yes.
like if somebody had to pick it up, what would they find in it?
Ah. I've simply asked a lot of people a simple question of why they wear and what they wear and how does
Okay.
that impact identity and stereotype.
Okay.
I think when I started writing that book, there were a lot of this was before the Black Lives Matter movement, where there was a lot of conversation on identity politics, and I wanted to simplify that for the common man and ask people how the politics of dress, of how you dress, and how does that impact the way you are viewed or often discriminated against by other people. So, do I need to wear an orange robe to prove to you that I'm godly? Do I, does wearing a hijab or, any kind of religious symbolism make you, not modern in your outlook? And, these were questions. France was banning the hijab at that point. And these were questions that actually personally bothered me a lot. I said, let's have this debate and let's have this dialogue, and that's how the book came about.
Got it. Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. So, coming to the topic that we were discussing before we started, and I'm sure you have a lot to say. So, like the Swedish textile recycler, like they are an early mover, when it comes to innovation, and that could help big brands meet their sustainability commitment. So, and they were like, I mean, there was this whole article on Vogue and like Business of Fashion and like other places that their stocks are there, but the demand is really not there. So, like, what's the exact problem that they are facing? Like, if we don't have to go very technical in it, but we have to sort of simplify it for people.
Yes.
So, yeah,
That's a good question because you're talking about Renewcell,
yeah,
which is filed for bankruptcy right now.
exactly.
And there's a lot of debate and concern around the fact of scalability of these tech companies that are trying to make fashion more circular and sustainable in its supply chains.
Yeah.
Priyanka, I have a very optimistic view. I think we can choose cynicism or optimism, and I have a very optimistic view on this. Renewal has to be understood in a business context and not in a sustainability context alone. What
Okay.
we are missing here is that when you see Renewal's recycling process, we have to understand that they are only able to build that product with homogeneous waste. So to simplify that for you, that means that post-consumer waste, like stuff that you and I are wearing, and we're done with that, and we want to throw it. They're not recycling that material. They are recycling textile waste from the factories because that needs to be given back to them with a certain textile integration in them. So what's happening here is two things. One, we're expecting garment manufacturers to invest in an extra step or process for recyclability of these products. So there's a motivation problem there. There's a price problem there because you can't expect garment manufacturers to invest in it when it is already a very competitive market, especially in this part of the
Yeah,
world,
yeah,
in
yeah.
India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, China. It's a very competitive environment where it's a price sensitive
Yeah.
market. The second problem is that they are based in Sweden. And this sort of a recycling should actually have an integrative approach with the supply chain where the recycling should happen, where access to that much waste is more easily accessible and not very expensive, and there isn't this need to recycle this in a certain particular way at a certain price. The textile companies, the garment manufacturers don't have the burden of recycling it and giving it back in a certain spec or certain way. So I don't think that this is only a comment on sustainability and scalability of these companies. I think there is a lot of scope uh, for for companies and tech companies that are offering such solutions. And I think these are hiccups you face in any business that you need to continuously pivot your strategy and see how you can improve that. But I am extremely optimistic about how technology is here to shape and reshape the world tomorrow, making it more sustainable. I mean, waste is a treasure today. It's a treasure. For
Yeah.
a Renew Cells example, I can also give an Econil's example. Econil is a recycled nylon company we worked with last year at Conscious Effort. In
Okay.
fact, the founder, Mr. Giulio Bonazzi, did speak at one of our Conscious Effort forums last year. And they're recycling waste from different parts of the world, post-consumer waste from different oceans, next ocean bodies from different parts of the world, and doing exceptionally well. I don't think this is a demand-supply issue alone, and you need to understand the context of it.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. Okay, so another topic that I want to
Yeah.
discuss is that recently we had the Lakme Fashion Week. Not recently, it's been a while,
Yeah.
but so we had this whole UN Circular Design Challenge,
Yeah.
and Anish Malpani, he was like the
Yeah.
yeah, he was the winner of that. So like I mean, I was there, and the show was really cool. Like his stuff was like all flashy, like really cool, like really Gen Z. Like it was really fun to watch, and apparently it was made out of like. Discarded those chips
Yeah.
packets and stuff like that, even the sunglasses and everything, it was made out of that. So is it really practical? Like, would people really want to pay something for something which is like when they get to know
Yeah.
that it's made out of waste chips
Yeah.
packets or whatever, like would they really want to invest in that? Like, what are your views on it?
Gen Z is fascinating the way they are shopping and the way they are looking at, waste. As long as the product, the design aesthetic fits within what a consumer is looking for, there is longevity and durability of the product material. I don't see why we should be discriminatory against the material choices. If it looks good, if you enjoy wearing it, if it's something that's going to last you a really long time, and then the fact that it's made from recycled materials is just a jackpot. It's a bonus. So why would you discriminate against a product? In fact, I think it should be put on a pedestal and you should invest in it because mono materials or virgin materials are not being used in the design process, and which is so amazing because, when you invest in something that does good, you also feel good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think, some of the people have really like these sort of blockages in their heads. Ki, oh no, like, they'll be
Yeah.
advocating, yeah, we are very,
Yeah.
like, mindful, we are this, we are that. And then you'll find them doing something which is absolutely not mindful. So I think,
This is, I feel like this is something we need to look at with we need to be more forgiving in the way we are looking at sustainability also sometimes. I feel like nobody is perfect. We
Yeah,
want,
absolutely.
we want to be perfect people, be a perfect business, be a perfect, mother, wife, child, parent, etc. But I think we need to apply this to everything, including, our approach to being more mindful in our lives. Uh, you can't do 10 things, do 6, 7 things,
Hmm.
but do them properly. Okay, this year if you say I'm not going to do, I'm changing my toothbrush to wooden toothbrushes, I'm not going to use plastic bottles, I'm not going to buy say from 15 pieces or clothing pieces a year, I'm only going to buy 5. Don't even buy a recycled material, buy 5 that you're going to wear for the next 10 years. But
Hmm.
don't be perfect, but choose better. And I think
Got
the
it.
battle is won when we do that. And slowly, slowly, it's about adding and understanding every year, right? When we started Conscious Effort, a lot of people, we started Conscious Effort actually because people used to ask us about this, like, what is sustainable? Why is your
Hmm.
product so different? Why is this way? And we understood that educating the customer is so important. So Conscious Effort, our mission is actually to educate, engage, and empower people about sustainability. And I feel like when you educate the customer, when you engage with them again and again,
Yeah.
they start understanding it, and then you empower them to make that choice. And I genuinely believe people want to make a good and a better choice. They inherently want to do that. And when
Yeah,
you
like
give them,
I believe, I mean, it's just a personal thing that people are not all bad. Like, they also want to contribute to better things, and
correct.
we should have that trust. If we keep trying, it will happen. Like, we
Sure,
shouldn't give
of
up. Yeah.
course. And when we show them statistics, when we do
Yeah.
conscious effort and we actually show them visuals and statistics of how aquatic life is being affected, how your use of plastic means there's microplastic in your body because it's come back into a food chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
People were shocked. Last year, we took plastic waste as one of our key themes for conscious effort. And people were shocked to even know that nylon and polyester based fibers, when you keep washing them, they release fibers, small microfibers, which go back into your food chain through water bodies because it's microplastics. And there have been enough studies to show that these microplastics have made way into our water, into our body, and it's detrimental to human health
It is.
and
It is.
the future. So when people are educated and you engage with them with real fact, with making them understand why these choices matter, I truly believe, and I have seen that change over the last 10 years in the business. I truly believe people choose, when you empower them to make a better choice, they do make a better choice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Education is super important. I think even social media helps in this nowadays. So I actually watched a video of these plastic straws,
Yeah,
and it went inside like the turtle's nose, and it was so horrific for me. And then after that,
it's horrifying.
whenever I see a plastic straw, I'm like, no, no, no,
Yeah, it's
back off.
horrifying. If you
Yeah.
see, the actual data on the impact of plastic and, how they make it back into a food chain, a lot of people couldn't even imagine that fashion could directly impact plastic going into our body as microplastics. But,
Yeah.
when, like you said, once you saw those disturbing visuals, when you saw it for yourself, you automatically, it comes from within to make that uh, difference and to make that choice.
Understood. Okay, so moving on,
Yeah.
you also mentioned that you have clean beauty products.
Yes.
So, what does vegan and clean exactly mean when it comes to the beauty space?
Very similar to the fashion space again, interchangeable as I mentioned. Vegan doesn't necessarily always mean it's sustainable.
Okay.
Vegan just means that animal-based products have not been used in the in the product, in the making of that product.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that it is only using natural products, or it is, it could be a completely chemical product, but it could be vegan because it doesn't use any animal byproduct.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so what when you're looking at clean products, you need to understand each product that goes, ingredient that goes into it, and then understand whether it's actually a conscious, clean product versus just a vegan product.
So, what are the myths that you like, for the people who are watching this or listening to this, are there any myths that you want to address when it comes to sustainable fashion in particular?
Myths. Simple stuff like people think it's cotton, so it's sustainable. I think that in itself is a big myth.
Okay.
Again, point of context, right? We are in India, cotton is grown here, takes liters and liters of water to be grown. But if you're sitting in, say, America, you're going to think cotton is sustainable, but that cotton with that liters and liters of water that's being used in the irrigation process of, making that cotton fiber and then transported to America,
Oh,
okay, is probably not as a sustainable choice compared to a recycled nylon that's made in their own backyard in America by probably a Silicon Valley company, tech company. So, these kind of things that people think that just because it's a natural material, it has to be sustainable, or just because it is a handcrafted product, it is sustainable, or it is ethical because it is handcrafted, how wages are being paid, what conditions are people manufacturing in. These are all things that consumers need to make an informed choice when they're making that choice.
so we need to spread a lot more awareness and
Yes,
information.
and the
yeah.
other myth I definitely want to bust is that sustainable products are more expensive than are more just expensive. I think that's a myth because what are you comparing it with? The comparison is only not equal. It's unequal. There's an inequity in the way you are comparing a sustainable product. So
Got
it's
it.
actually not more expensive. It's actually a product that you're paying a fair value, a fair price for the making of it.
Understood. Okay, so lastly, my last question is, what is the next big thing when it comes to sustainable fashion, according to you?
I am very optimistic about technology, as I said. And I feel the technology is going to fuel the sustainable fashion industry by helping the supply chains become more circular. And we're going to see, we're already seeing so many material innovations like, the apple leathers that you talked about, and Renewcell, or Econil, or Malai leather. I think this space is really going to show some breakthrough technologies which are going to keep refining themselves as they see newer challenges to meet. And adding to this, one of the areas that I would love to see in the future is actually textile recycling units. Now, collection
Okay.
units and recycling units. And I'll tell you why. So, what do you do with your waste products? Like once you've used your clothes and they're torn, or they're old, what do you do with them? Most people will say
Yeah, like
that.
I don't know. I'd probably give it to my maid to sort of clean the house.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
So see, it's a hand-me-down. India is a hand-me-down culture. In
yeah,
any case,
yeah.
we take pride in it.
No, not like a hand me down to the maid. I give it like to them
To
to clean the
clean.
house and
So you
stuff. Yeah,
recycle it in a way, but where does that waste then eventually go? After cleaning also,
that I don't know about.
it still
Yeah.
goes into a landfill, or it's just still has to be thrown away. So I think one of the really big areas, especially for India, is going to be companies that can have recycling collection points, units to segregate materials, because certain monomaterials can be recycled, certain can't be recycled, certain need to be segregated and recycled differently, and actually have a systematic approach in the back end to make sure that these waste products, after the hand-me-downs and the usability, multi-use of cleaning, sweeping,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
is done, it still doesn't end up in a landfill.
Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. And how long do you think this would take? Sounds like a very laborious process.
Aha. I wish I could predict that.
Okay. Anyway, so coming to the last part, it's
Yeah,
like a small game that we play. So
sure.
I'll ask you. It's called fashion this or that, and I'll
Okay.
ask you like a few questions.
Okay,
So you have
fun.
to choose one. Okay. Okay. So a brand whose aesthetic suits you the most: Pero, Kasha, or 1111.
Pero and 1111, both.
Okay, nice. And an iconic actor of the yesteryear you love: Rekha Ji or Zeenat Aman?
Zinataman.
Yeah, her Instagram is like so good.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so silk or cotton button downs?
Silk.
Okay. Flared or A-line skirts?
No skirts. I don't wear skirts.
No, okay, great. Natural dyes or digital printing? What do you
Natural
think?
dyes.
Okay, nice. So slow fashion or capsule wardrobe?
Capsule wardrobe.
Lovely. Okay, so that was the end of our podcast. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you so much for having me,
Yeah.
Priyanka.
Do you have anything to say about how was your experience or
I think the experience was wonderful. I hope we all can make a conscious effort in taking this movement forward, taking the message forward, and just empowering more people to make a good choice when it comes to people, planet, and profit.
Lovely. So I think the message for all of us today is like to be more mindful. I'll also practice the same. You do it from your end. And Sachi's of course doing it for a long time now. Okay, so thank you guys. And you can follow the Fashion Scoop on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever, whatever your streaming platform is. If you have any suggestions, do text us on 8588966996, or you can email us on pods@indiatoday.com. Thank you so much.